Kind of asking you to jog your memory a little bit. What do you remember about coaching against Tyler Seguin from, I don't know, like 2013 to 2017?
Yeah. Well, the first time I saw Tyler Seguin, Steve Spott and I were coaching junior hockey in Kitchener, and he was playing on he was up for the OHL draft, and he was playing on a team with Jeff Skinner. They were actually on the same line. And so I got to see him there. We ended up drafting Jeff Skinner in Kitchener. And then I left for my first job in Florida, and Spotter coached Jeff Skinner, and Tyler ended up going before we picked to Plymouth. And so I kind of followed, as I was coaching in the NHL, I followed those guys through their draft year and through their early years in the NHL, and then got a chance to work with Tyler on a World Championship team. I think at least once, maybe twice with Team Canada. So got to know him a little more personally in those situations, and just have always been a fan of his game.
Earlier in his NHL career, very finesse, skill, all that kind of stuff. Now it looks like he gets down to the net, plays defense.
Yeah.
That evolution, is that important for a veteran young?
Yeah, I think it is. You have to evolve. You have to add layers to your game. That's what that's the best way that I've heard it termed is just as you get older, you've got to add different layers to your game. Those guys come in with young legs and lots of speed, and they've scored everywhere they've been. And then as your career goes on, you have to add some other layers to what you're doing, because the offense at this level, really is hard to come by. So, and he's done that, and I've got a lot of. No one works harder in the off season. Matty Nickel, who is his off-ice conditioning coach, Steve Spott, and I've known Matt for 10, 15 years. Spotter runs all his on-ice stuff in the summer. He's always raved, even before I got to coach Tyler, about how hard he works at his craft in the summertime. So, all good stuff.
Is it? We always hear hockey's such a small world, and you kind of talk about all this. And Shane said that he had experience with you with the national team, all that kind of stuff. Just does that help when you're trying to coach guys here?
It does. It helps. I've said this before, but my experience with Hockey Canada and working with the national team, and at the NHL level, you only get to do it if you miss the playoffs or it's an Olympic year, and we haven't had an Olympic year in a long time. So, I got to do it my first 4 or 5 years in the league. We missed the playoffs every year in Florida, so every one of those opportunities I got to go and work with coaches like Ken Hitchcock and Dave Tippett and different guys, and but you also get to know the league and the players and on other teams, and it's invaluable to sit when Matt Duchene's name comes up in the summer as a guy that you have to make a quick decision on, and both Jim and I have worked with him. Like that's invaluable stuff, as opposed to just scouting reports or what you saw last year in a down year.
What do you expect? What kind of game are you expecting from Calgary tonight?
Well, they've been playing much better. I think they had points in 6 games in a row prior to losing in Nashville the other night. So I think they're starting to figure it out. They're starting to play the way everyone expected them to play. When you look at their lineup, they're 4 lines deep. They're 6 defensemen deep. They've got an elite goalie. And they're coming off a loss, which is a dangerous team. And we've been at home for Thanksgiving, sitting around watching football and spending time with family. So you're always worried as a coach about how you're going to come out of that.
Do you think about today kind of like the first home game coming off of a long road trip?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of distractions, when you're home for Thanksgiving. It's just like Christmas. It's sometimes it's easier being on the road and you've got nothing to concentrate on but hockey. So, we got a veteran group though. We talked a little bit about it. I'm sure we'll be ready to go.
For your own lineup, do you look at Robertson in the way that he played when you put him back together? And go with that? How do you look at it?
Yeah, Yeah, I liked how we finished the game. I liked our second and third period after we flipped some things around, and I'm not sure the changes were necessarily the reason for that, but it definitely looked and felt better. We fixed some parts of our game too, but we're going to go with the same way we ended.
How about Craig Smith? How's he doing?
Good. He hadn't been able to eat for 2 days, had a really bad case of something. So this is his first day kind of back feeling normal. So, we'll skate him today and then see how he feels tomorrow.
You talk about that fourth line with Smith and Steele and Delandria and pretty much Fox has said. How do you determine who gets the start and who's the scratch?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of factors going to that. Sometimes that decision's made for you, like injuries or illness or things like that. Sometimes it's a tough decision based on what we need. And, a lot of things go into that pot. Versatility, how have you played recently, how have you produced, chemistry with the other two guys. So those are good problems to have if you're healthy scratching good players.
Along those lines, can I just ask you about your impressions of Sam Steele?
Yeah, Sam's been good. Underrated skill. Wants the puck on his stick, which I like. He wants to have it. He wants to make plays, which sometimes when you get guys in the depth of your lineup, they don't have that mindset. They just want to chip it in and bang around. And that's what we're looking for in the depth of our lineup. Some guys to make plays and contribute offensively. And he's been better than his numbers show.
Pete, I just wanted to ask you about Blake Coleman. What's it like to see a guy from the Dallas area?
Yeah. Well, it's fantastic. I think every one of these cities, is going to have somebody that's locally homegrown and comes up and plays. Dallas has a few. I remember when I was in Vegas, we had one local homegrown guy on our American League team in Henderson that played a couple games with us, Gage Quinney, whose dad had played pro there and then settled there. But I think it's fantastic, and it's just the tip of the iceberg. When you see Dallas minor hockey, and we've got some players heavily involved with it, Ryan Suter, Joe Pavelski. They've got Alain Nasruddine's got two boys playing. They've got elite teams at almost every level in North America, which is fantastic when you consider where it was 20 years ago.